Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I am Nicole and I live here in India. I've been here for 18 years. Long time. My friend Laurence, she's my only friend. She's been here for what now? 15 years. Long time. So we've been here a long time. We've seen a lot of different things happen in India, and we really enjoy reacting to videos that show India's progress, that give a different light or perspective or history on India. And this video is the Do Indians Know About India? India is reclaiming super poor to superpower. And we're going to go ahead and watch this. It sounds like a very interesting video. I'm interested to see, I know about the history. We know super poor, but what do we know about superpower? I think it's coming. We're almost there, or we are there. We're getting even bigger. Let's see what this video has to say. If you haven't already, give me your like, give me your subscribe, and let's go.
India is going through a massive transformation. The 21st century India is responding to globalization, and this is reflected in its transforming cityscapes. Mumbai, the National Capital Region. Kolkata, Chennai, Hyderabad, Bengaluru. The change is becoming more and more visible. The country has brought 271 million people out of poverty between the years of 2005 to 2016. Standard Chartered's long-term forecast expects India to become the world's second largest economy by 2030, overtaking the US and becoming second only to China. It should be noted that India has already become the third largest economy in purchasing power terms, and in nominal terms, it is the sixth largest in the world. According to the Center for International Development at Harvard University, the economic pole of global growth has moved over the past few years from China to neighboring India, where it is likely to stay over the coming decade. In terms of economic progress, is India becoming the next China?
Yes, it is.
The Beijing-based Chinese think tank, Unbound, thinks so.
Yeah.
According to Unbound, China needs to seriously consider and study the rise of India's economy and India's competitive advantage. India, an ancient land with growing young population, is an emerging market power. It is entirely possible for it to become the next China and poses great attraction to the world's capital.
I think it will be the next China.
The Chinese think tank's apprehensions are not unfounded.
Huh?
The political situation here is much more reassuring than China.
Oh, for sure. The political situation is much more
Which is why
reassuring.
investors come more easily here than they would in China. You always think twice before
going to
something
China. Yeah, I think, and so many investors are actually actively leaving China. I really think, and then there's so many other things there. Their youth, for example, they don't have as much of a youth base as India does, but let's continue. But for sure, India is going to surpass China.
Leading international business leaders, think tanks, and global CEOs now consider India as one of the most attractive destinations for investment and technology transactions. What are the conditions that are favoring India? What are the factors that have brought India to the world's center stage? What is it that makes India one of the largest growth engines in the world? My name is Karolina Goswami, and in this episode, you will become familiarized a little bit more with the world's largest democracy and the country which is going to play a key role in shaping the future of our planet. India is the #1 offshoring destination in the world, accounting for approximately 55% market share of the global services sourcing business. Indian IT companies have a presence in more than 80 countries, and Indian IT giant TCS is set to become the world's third largest IT services company. India has the world's third largest startup ecosystem. It is expected that by 2034, the Indian e-commerce industry will overtake the US to become the second largest e-commerce market.
Yep.
India already has the second largest telecom network in the world, and it is expected to have a total internet user base of more than 800 million by 2021. India has more than 250 million school-going students, which is more than any other country. The country has become the second largest market for e-learning after the US. A report by Ernst & Young stated that by 2030, the emergence of a robust higher education system would enable India to have more than 20 universities among the global top 200. In terms of scientific output, India ranks 5th in the world, and by 2030, it is expected to climb up to 3rd. In 2017, India ranked 1st in the Global Retail Development Index. By 2030, it is set to become the 3rd largest consumer market. The number of operational airports in India will rise to 200 in 2 decades, and by 2024, it will overtake the UK to become the 3rd largest air passenger market.
I heard too that in terms of airlines, like Air India, once they get their new planes, they will eventually take out Emirates and Singapore Airlines. They will no longer need to go to those hubs, and by offering, prices that are just a little bit lower than these other airlines, they'll be able to. You can do like a nonstop either to the U.S. or to Europe. You will no longer, or to Australia. You no longer need to go through these hubs. And I think Singapore Airlines has already made a significant investment in Air India because they understand that this is what's happening. Yeah.
Ports, rail, highways. Ambitious infrastructure projects are rapidly changing the face of India. The country is already building a bullet train infrastructure, and it is also working on the Hyperloop. India's state-of-the-art Train 18, which is a semi-high-speed indigenously built train, has already found many global admirers who have expressed an interest in importing it. India is already creating a web of modern urban metro networks in its big cities. After the completion of Phase 4, the Delhi Metro will become the 3rd largest metro network in the world, with a total length of approximately 450 kilometers. With more than 7,000 freight trains carrying 3 million tons of freight daily and more than 12,000 passenger trains with 23 million travelers on board every day, the Indian Railways, with its 115,000 kilometer network and more than 7,000 stations, is among the world's largest. Spanning over 5.5 million kilometers, India has the world's 2nd largest road network, and by 2022, the country is expected to have a national highway network of 200,000 kilometers. India is the 2nd largest casting producer in the world. It is also the 2nd largest producer of steel and cement. The construction market in India will grow nearly twice as fast as China up to 2030, and the country is expected to overtake Japan to become the world's 3rd largest construction market by 2021. Thanks to these solid indicators, there shouldn't be any surprise that the Indian real estate industry is expected to be the 3rd largest in the world by 2030. India is already the 2nd largest mobile phone manufacturer in the world.
Yep.
It is the 3rd largest producer of coal and 4th largest producer of iron ore. The country is the world's largest cutting and polishing center for diamonds, and in 2017, it exported 75% of the world's polished diamonds. By 2020, it is expected to become the 5th largest manufacturing country in the world. In 2017, India became the 4th largest auto market. It is already the largest manufacturer of two-wheelers and tractors in the world.
Oh, I didn't know
It is
that.
the world's 3rd largest heavy truck manufacturer and 4th largest car producer.
Not surprising.
By
Right?
2020, it is expected to become 4th largest manufacturer of automobiles globally, and the Indian auto components industry is set to become the 3rd largest in the world by 2025. Jaguar, Range Rover and SsangYong Motors are owned by Indian companies.
Yep.
India's national healthcare program, Ayushman Bharat, is the largest government-funded healthcare program in the world. The country also contributes immensely to global healthcare. India is the top supplier of doctors to both the UK and the USA.
It's not surprising.
Indian hospitals receive nearly 500,000 international patients annually, and medical tourism in the country is expected to touch $8 billion by 2020.
That's not surprising.
But you can already see that if you go to some of the hospital in Bangalore,
Yeah,
they have an entire section which is just for
medical tourism. Well, I know I have been sick here in India. I've been hospitalized a couple of times, and I have received fabulous care. Wonderful doctors, wonderful, just fabulous care. I can't. Yeah, I mean, I cannot complain about the care that I've received in the hospitals here.
Yeah, it's not, and it's not just because you're a foreigner. Because
No, it's not
Yeah.
because I'm a foreigner at all. I mean, I'm going into an emergency room. I'm getting the same doctors as everybody else. It's these things have been, the care here is fantastic. And, unlike the West, it's affordable for the most part, much more affordable than it is in the US. And,
yeah, that I can't agree with because I'm French. But okay, fine.
oh yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I'm American, and
Yeah.
I mean, our
No,
the systems are completely
My
different.
system is different and
Yeah.
unique in the world. So.
Yeah. So my father actually had a medical emergency here as well once he was visiting, and the care that he received, he was blown away by the professionalism and the just the level of care that went into treating his wound or whatever, what he had, what had happened to him. It was great, and it was he looked at the bill and he couldn't believe it that he received all of that for that amount.
Yeah, but your US bits are.
Our
Crazy.
US rates are crazy.
That's
That's
another
true.
story,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. We'll continue. Sorry, we're talking.
It is difficult to imagine how the world would be able to combat AIDS without Indian input.
Yeah, we heard about that.
Globally, over 80% of the antiretroviral drugs which are used to combat AIDS are supplied by India. 30% of the annual UNICEF requirement of antiretroviral drugs is supplied by India.
Yeah, the world's pharmacy.
Indian drugs are exported to more than 200 countries in the world. Since India is the largest provider of generic drugs globally, it is also known as the pharmacy of the world.
Yeah.
25% of all medicines in the UK are sourced from India. 40% of generic drugs taken by Americans are made in India. And the country's massive pharmaceutical industry is the source of more than 50% of global demand for various vaccines. India's rich culture and spiritual foundational wisdom are its big assets. It is the land which gave birth to pro-environment traditions like aparigraha. It shouldn't be a surprise that India secured the best score in the Green Dex survey and emerged as one of the least wasteful economies. This is a Karbi traditional home. These traditional tribal homes are one of the finest displays of India's rich heritage. They represent a combination of intelligent engineering and sustainable living, which is totally relevant in the 21st century. The Indian state, Sikkim, has become the role model for the entire world in organic farming. It is the world's first 100% organic state. Fruit and vegetable production,
Didn't even know
tea
that.
production, silk production, bamboo genetic resources. India ranks second in the world in all these departments. In other agricultural commodities like rice, wheat and pulses, it is also among the top producers.
Yeah.
With as many as 8,000 species, India is the world's second largest exporter of medicinal plants. It is the world's largest producer of dairy, and globally, India has been the largest milk-producing country since 1997. After the United States, Japan and China, India is the fourth largest producer of agrochemicals. Some of the biggest solar farms of the world are located in India.
I didn't know that.
The Indian renewable energy sector is the fourth most attractive renewable energy market in the world, and the country is well positioned to surpass its 2022 renewable energy target. In Paris, India pledged that by 2030, 40% of its installed capacity will come from renewable sources, and it is expected that by 2050, renewables will supply 75% of electricity in India.
I think they'll make that happen.
Thorium is considered to be the nuclear fuel of the future, and India has one of the largest shares of global thorium reserves. India is expected to have 30.5 million international tourist arrivals by 2028, but its real potential is a lot more.
Yeah.
With 26 biotic provinces, 10 biogeographical zones, more than 30 World Heritage Sites,
Yeah.
a 7,000-kilometer coastal line, as well as its mountains, deserts, rainforests, islands, volcano, salt flats, wildlife, and tribal habitation, India is incredibly diversified.
That's so true. You know, you can't just come to India once and be like,
Yeah, I have
I
seen
saw
India.
India. Yeah, because you go and you spend a couple of weeks here and you see just a fraction of the country. And
Yeah.
each place you go to, if it's north, south, east, west, it's all different, so different. So I understand where she's saying that, you know, it's just a fraction of the tourism, because although if you go once, you still need a second, a third, a fourth time. And we've lived here for so long
Oh,
and
yeah.
haven't seen it all. You know, there's so much to see here.
Its 29 states, 7 union territories, 4,000 cities, and 600,000 villages have a lot of hidden potential. Many of them are not yet fully explored and discovered. In 2017, India ranked first in the world's first digital traveler rankings when it was revealed that it had the most digitally advanced travelers. There is no denying that India is emerging as a lucrative expat destination. It is the 12th best country to live in as an expat. It is far ahead of countries.
I need to stop. Honestly, I'm not even sure why it would be the 12th. I mean, that doesn't seem high enough to me. Every
Who
expat.
is 1 to 11? That's, I would like to know.
Oh, like 1 to 11. Yeah, I'd like
Yeah,
to know
if-
that too.
If India is 12, then
Who are the first
Yeah.
11? But I would like to say almost every expat. I mean, I have run into a very few that wanted to leave India, but the overwhelming majority don't want to leave. They don't want to go. They make plans to come back. An interesting tidbit, there was a company that years ago had a hardship allowance for their employees. And when they realized eventually that it's not a hardship to live here, they had to remove that as an allowance, because it isn't, living here is not a hardship, you know, it is especially for expats. And it is, it's a joy, you know. So many of the people that I've known throughout the years that have lived here, they want to come back. They had such an amazing time living here.
Countries like the USA, the UK, Japan, and China. India-based expats earn an average of $176,000, which means that they are the second highest paid in the world. On the other hand, Indians who are living outside India have performed exceptionally well and have rightfully earned the tag of model minority.
India are fabulous.
In both the UK and the USA, the Indian community has been outperforming other ethnic groups academically and economically.
Well, we see that too with the rise of the Indian CEOs, the prime ministers, the global leaders, you know, of Indian origin. I mean, they're taking over, and yes, that's great.
India is also the world's top recipient of remittances, as its diaspora sent $79 billion back home in 2018.
Yep.
The country is also expected to benefit from the reverse brain drain. From its film industry to its space agency and defense, India's growth can be seen across a very broad spectrum.
Wow.
In terms of ticket sales and number of films made, India has the world's largest film industry. India is a nuclear-armed nation, and its military is the fourth strongest in the world. Its space agency, ISRO, has already reached Mars, and now it is planning to send humans to space.
Well, we got to the moon. That's this video.
For its commercial arm, Antrix, it has launched hundreds of foreign satellites for multiple developed and developing nations. This may all sound very impressive, but for India, This is just a beginning.
It really is.
It wants to attain self-dependence in core technologies, and it wants to participate in the fourth industrial revolution. But will India be able to earn its rightful place in the powerful and influential global forums which are dominated by the Western nations?
Yes.
Will India be able to help those forums become truly global and truly democratic by challenging the existing supremacy of the Western powers?
I hope so. Yeah.
Will India be able to protect its citizens from tech colonization? And will it be able to have a stronger voice in the global media? Will India be able to protect its identity from the Western religious and commercial monocultures which are homogenizing its cultures and diversity?
They're trying. I mean, they're doing.
Will it be able to learn the best global practices? And will it be able to preserve the best that it has?
I think so. Because the Indian people want to.
Unlike others, will India be able to use its science for global public good and not just for commercial returns?
I hope so.
Those who are concerned about India's economic development's impact on the environment should also understand that India's historical emissions are extremely low in comparison to other global powers.
That's very true.
Just because the financial prosperity of many developed nations and colonial powers came at the cost to the environment and through the misery of colonized nations, it does not mean that there are no other ways to walk the path to prosperity. Through its approach of universal familyhood, which is rooted in its ancient foundational wisdom, India is practicing what others could only preach. The world should take note of that. See you again.
Wow, another powerful video.
Yeah.
And so much that I did not know.
About,
Yeah, you learn something. I mean, this country is so diverse and so big, and there's so much to learn and to understand about India. And it's interesting that you learn something new every day. You think that you know so much, and then you realize you don't know as much as you thought you knew.
Yeah, no, but it's true that when it comes to environment and India is taking initiatives
They
which
are.
have not been taken anywhere else.
That's very true. And to see it being taken,
Yeah.
instead of by a country that should be leading like the US, they're not, I don't think Europe is, but India is taking those steps. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this was a subscriber recommendation. We really enjoyed watching it. If you have something that you would like us to react to, please put it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed the reaction, please do give a like. Please do give us a subscribe. Maybe share it out to some friends and family. I would really appreciate it. And that's our reaction. So as always, we love you and bye-bye.
Bye.